There is a level of discipline that does not require motivation. A level that does not bend when you are tired, does not break when you are in pain, and does not listen when your mind begs you to stop. It is a terrifying level of commitment. And today, you will learn the ancient system designed not to build discipline, but to become it. Have you ever wondered about the legends? The monks who could meditate for days in the freezing cold? The warriors who could train for 12 hours straight without a single complaint? You see these people and you think, they are built differently. They are not human. You believe they possess a supernatural willpower that you could never hope to achieve. That belief is a lie. A comfortable lie you tell yourself to avoid a terrifying truth. The truth is, their secret was not having more willpower. Their secret was a system that made willpower irrelevant. They called it Gyōja no Michi, the path of the ascetic. A path so demanding that it burns away everything that is weak inside of you, until all that remains is pure, unbreakable action. When you understand the 3 laws of this path, you will realize that the discipline you have been trying to build is a house made of paper. But be warned, this is not a life hack. This path does not offer comfort. It demands a sacrifice. The sacrifice of the person you are right now, for the person you could become. Before we walk this path, I invite you to subscribe to the channel and join a community dedicated to becoming stronger. And tell me in the comments, what is the one thing in your life that demands this scary level of discipline? I will read every comment. Now, let us begin. In a small village nestled by a river, lived a young man named Kaito. Kaito was not lazy, but he was a worshiper of comfort. His father was a master potter, a man whose hands were rough from clay and whose patience was as deep as the river. He tried to teach Kaito the craft, but the boy's spirit was like soft, unfired clay. Kaito, his father would say, "A pot is not made in an hour. It takes 1,000 turns of the wheel, a steady hand, and a patient heart." Kaito would try. He would sit at the wheel, feel the cool clay, and for 10 minutes he would be focused. But then his back would ache. His mind would wander to the taste of sweet rice cakes or the warmth of the sun outside. He'd make an excuse. "Father, I need more water," and then disappear for an hour. His creations were always flawed, lopsided, cracked, or simply abandoned. The pattern of his life was the pattern of his pottery: a good start, followed by a collapse. One year, the rains did not come. The river shrank, the fields turned to dust, and a quiet desperation fell over the village. The only hope was the annual tribute to the mountain shrine, a set of 10 flawless ceremonial vases to be filled with the last of the village's grain, an offering to the spirits for rain. For generations, Kaito's family had been entrusted with this sacred task. His father, now old and frail, could not do it alone. The responsibility fell to Kaito. "You must do this," his father whispered, his voice dry like the earth. "The village depends on it." For the first time, Kaito felt the cold grip of real pressure. He worked for days. He ignored the ache in his back. He resisted the call of the sun. He focused, driven by fear, and he succeeded. He created 9 perfect vases. As he worked on the 10th and final vase, a wave of relief washed over him. He was almost done. He could already taste the praise, feel the comfort of success. In that moment of premature celebration, his hand slipped. A tiny, almost invisible wobble. He ignored it, finished the vase, and placed it in the kiln to be fired. When he opened the kiln the next morning, 9 vases stood perfect. The 10th had a hairline crack running down its side, a fatal flaw. It was useless. There was no more time, no more clay of that quality. He had failed, not because he couldn't do the work, but because, at the final moment, his mind had sought comfort instead of maintaining discipline. The shame was a physical weight, heavier than any clay. That night, unable to face his father or the village elders, Kaito fled. He ran towards the one place no one would follow, the cold, unforgiving slopes of Mount Akuma, the place where legends said the ascetic monks lived. He wasn't seeking wisdom. He was running from his own weakness. After 2 days of climbing, exhausted and hungry, he collapsed at the gate of a small, isolated temple. An old monk with eyes that seemed to hold the coldness of the mountain itself found him there. The monk's name was Jin. "Why are you here, boy?" Jin's voice was like grinding stones. Through tears, Kaito confessed his failure. He spoke of his love for comfort, his weak will, his broken vase, and his broken village. When he finished, the monk was silent for a long time. Then he spoke. "You think your problem is a lack of discipline. Your problem is that you believe you have a choice. You wake up every day and choose whether to be disciplined or to be comfortable. As long as there is a choice, the weak part of you will always have a voice." Kaito looked confused. "But there is always a choice." "Is there?" replied the monk. "The sun does not choose to rise. The river does not choose to flow. They simply are. The first step on the path of the ascetic is to kill choice. It is to make a vow so absolute that it transforms your identity." He led Kaito to a small, dark hall. In the center was a single candle. This is the first law, Ketsudan, the vow of unbreakability. You will not promise to try. You will declare what you are. Trying is temporary. Being is permanent. What is the one thing you must become? Kaito thought of the village, of his father. I must become a man who finishes what he starts, a master potter." "No," the monk said sharply. "That is the outcome. What is the identity? It is simpler. It is deeper. You must become a man whose actions are as reliable as the sunrise." He handed Kaito a small knife. "You will make a small cut on your thumb and press it onto this scroll, sealing your new identity with your own blood. But understand this. This is not a motivational trick. In our tradition, a vow sealed in this way is your entire existence. To break it is to die socially and spiritually. Are you ready to kill the boy who runs away?" Kaito's hand trembled. This was insane. It was extreme. It was scary. But the memory of the cracked vase, of his father's disappointed face, was scarier. He took the knife, made the cut, and pressed his bloody thumb onto the empty scroll. In that moment, he didn't feel inspired. He felt a cold, heavy certainty. He was no longer the boy who tried. He was the man who did. The option to quit had just been amputated. "Your old mind will fight this vow," Master Jin said the next morning. "It will look for loopholes. It will create excuses. We must give it no room to move. That is the second law, Fudo, the law of the unchanging path." He took Kaito to a shed. Inside was a single potter's wheel and a mountain of raw, difficult clay. For the next 100 days, your life will have one rhythm. You will wake when the morning bell rings. You will work on this wheel for 3 hours. You will eat. You will work another 3 hours. You will sleep. There is no variation. Not on day 10, not on day 57, not on day 99. The path does not change. "But what if I am tired?" Kaito asked. "What if I am uninspired?" "Irrelevant," the monk snapped. "Inspiration is for amateurs. The unchanging path creates momentum that is stronger than any feeling. Your mind negotiates because you allow it to. By making the schedule absolute and non-negotiable, you kill the negotiator. The energy you waste deciding if or when will now be channeled into the work itself. The first week was hell. Kaito's body ached. His mind screamed for distraction, for novelty, for comfort. But the vow held him in place, and the unchanging schedule was a cage from which his weakness could not escape. By week 3, something shifted. He no longer argued with the bell. He simply got up. The 3-hour sessions, once a countdown to freedom, became simple blocks of existence. His mind began to quiet down because it learned there was nothing to negotiate. This is not philosophy, it is neuroscience. A researcher at Princeton University who studies habit formation explains, when an action is performed at the same time, in the same way, every single day, the cognitive load shifts from the prefrontal cortex, the decision-making part of the brain, to the basal ganglia, the part that controls automatic behaviors. You are literally building a new reality in your brain where the desired action is the default, not the exception. By day 60, Kaito was no longer doing pottery. The wheel was turning before he was fully conscious. His hands moved with a life of their own. The separation between him and the work was dissolving. Let's stop here for a moment. Let's stop talking about Kaito and start talking about you. You say you want discipline. That's a lie. What you want are the results of discipline. You want the fit body, the successful business, the finished novel. But you do not want the path. You want the destination without the journey. You're afraid of the vow because it means you would be truly accountable. It's easier to say, "I'll try my best," because it gives you a built-in excuse to fail. You're afraid of the unchanging path because you have been taught the toxic myth of listening to your body or waiting for inspiration. You use these ideas as sophisticated excuses to justify your desire for comfort. The scariest level of discipline is not about being a robot. It's about being honest. It's about admitting that your feelings are unreliable, your motivation is fleeting, and your mind is a master negotiator that will always argue in favor of the easy way out. The Gyōja no Michi works because it is a system of surrender. You surrender your fleeting moods to an unbreakable vow. You surrender your daily decisions to a fixed, unchanging path. You stop fighting with yourself every single day. Most people are not willing to do this. They say they want freedom, but what they practice is the slavery of endless negotiation with their own weakness. So, the real question is not whether you can do it. The question is, are you willing to sacrifice the illusion of choice for the reality of power? On day 82, Kaito was shaping a large, complex vase when the clay resisted. A sharp pain shot through his wrist. He pulled back, hissing. It was a sprain. The old Kaito would have stopped immediately. "I'm injured. I need rest." It was the perfect, logical excuse. He went to Master Jin. "Master, my wrist is injured. I cannot work." The monk looked not at his wrist, but into his eyes. The path is not about avoiding pain. It is about using it. This is the third and most important law, Kunan, the embrace of pain. "Pain is a signal," Jin continued. "Your pain is signaling a weakness in your technique. Instead of running from it, you must go towards it. Let the pain be your teacher. It will show you precisely where you are weak, where your form is wrong. Go back to the wheel. Work slower. Work smaller. Find a way to move that does not aggravate the injury, but corrects the flaw that caused it. Pain is not a stop sign. It is a guidepost." A neuropsychologist from Stanford University, studying elite athletes and special forces soldiers, calls this adversarial growth. His research found that top performers don't just tolerate stress and pain, they actively reframe it as a necessary and desirable part of the process. Pain becomes data. Failure becomes a lesson. Obstacles become the training. Kaito returned to the wheel. The pain was sharp, but he listened to it. He realized he was using too much force from his wrist and not enough from his core. He adjusted his posture. He slowed down his breathing. He began to move in a new way, a more efficient, powerful way. He made smaller, simpler pots, but he did not stop. He did not break the unchanging path. By the time his wrist healed, his entire technique had been transformed. He was stronger not in spite of the injury, but because of it. He had learned to welcome the obstacle, to find the lesson in the hardship. On the 100th day, Kaito stood before Master Jin. He was leaner, his eyes were clear, and his hands, though covered in calluses, were steady. In the shed behind him were hundreds of pots, each one simple, yet perfect. "The 100 days are over," the monk said. "You are free to go." There was no ceremony, no congratulations. The path was the reward. Kaito bowed deeply. "Thank you, Master." He walked back down the mountain. He was not the same boy who had run up it. The village was even weaker than when he had left, but he felt no despair. He saw not a problem, but a task. He went to his father's workshop, gathered the best clay, and sat at the wheel. There was no hesitation, no internal negotiation. There was only the work. He worked for 5 days straight, his rhythm as constant as the turning of the earth. He created a new set of 10 ceremonial vases. They were more than perfect. They held within their form a sense of stillness, of immense, quiet power. They were the work of a man who was no longer separate from his craft. When the villagers saw the vases, they saw hope. When they saw Kaito, they did not see the boy who loved comfort. They saw a man whose presence was as solid as the mountain he had descended. The rains did eventually come, but the real change had already happened inside the potter's workshop. Kaito's story is not about pottery. It is about the architecture of an unbreakable will. You can build the same structure in your own life. This is your action plan. First, choose your mountain. Select one, and only one area of your life for this practice: your health, your business, your craft. Do not try to apply this everywhere at once. Be specific. Second, take the vow of unbreakability. Do not just promise yourself. Create a real ritual. Write down your new identity. I am a writer. I am an athlete. Tell someone you respect, someone whose opinion matters to you. Create real, social stakes. Make it so that breaking your word would cause you genuine shame. Third, define your unchanging path. Design a simple, non-negotiable daily schedule for that one thing. Not a goal, but a practice. I will write for 45 minutes every day at 6 a.m. I will go to the gyms at 5 p.m. Monday to Friday. The time and the action must be absolute, non-negotiable. Fourth, identify and embrace your necessary pain. What is the hardship you have been avoiding? Making the sales call? Waking up early? Pushing through the last set at the gym? That is your new teacher. Do not run from it. Go towards it. That is where the growth is. This is not easy. People will call you obsessed. They will say you are too rigid. They will not understand why you can't just relax. They will not understand that you have found a freedom they will never know. The freedom from your own weakness. The goal was never to become disciplined. The goal was to sacrifice the person who needed discipline in the first place. In his place, a new person is born. someone who doesn't have to choose to act because they have become the action itself. That is the scariest and most powerful level of discipline. If this message resonated with you, subscribe and become part of the Hasno mindset. Your path starts now. Thank you for watching. Be present. Be powerful. We will see you in the next video.